Wasn't this all around the time when Aaliyah died?
Yeah.
And Beyonce's solo career was struggling? Jam on your phone now. That's some bullshit ass record. From the Austin Powers shit, it was some of the worst shit ever. They were having a hard time taking her solo. And then Aaliyah died.
And Nicki Minaj just hit send on another digital earthquake. She's moved past the hidden sons of Jay-Z, the baby oil-fueled Diddy parties, and the whisper network she's been exposing for months. Now she's targeting the ultimate throne, Beyoncé. According to insiders and Annika's own hints, there may be evidence linking Queen Bey to the same shadowy circles Nicki has been unraveling, specifically tying back to the late Aaliyah. This lands like a bomb because it challenges the narrative of untouchable royalty, the sanitized histories of pop culture, and the idea that icons operate outside accountability. Psychologically, it resonates because audiences instinctively fixate on contradictions. The queen who appears untouchable, yet allegedly connected to darkness behind the scenes. Reports suggest the situation goes deeper than we imagined. Some allege Aaliyah's tragic death wasn't merely an accident, but connected to her desire to escape the exploitative Hollywood machine, the very circles Diddy was facing trial for, allegedly involving the transport and exploitation of minors. And yes, whispers implicate Jay-Z in those same networks, with Beyoncé allegedly aware of, and possibly complicit in, some of the machinations. That's not just gossip. For a generation of fans, this reframes a decade of music history, turning icons into players in a hidden, morally compromised chess game. And Nicki Minaj is now daring to expose the board. Now here's where the tension explodes. The public memory of Nicki's relationship with the Carters complicates everything. She had celebrated milestones with them. Beyoncé sending handwritten notes for Nicki's son, congratulating her on the 2022 MTV Vanguard Award, even gifting pink Ivy Park items to celebrate the Barbie soundtrack single Baby. Publicly, the friendship seemed intact. But privately, Nicki claims the relationship soured when she started questioning Jay-Z and Beyoncé's involvement in these shadow networks. She escalated from subtle references to direct lyrical calls, dissing Beyoncé in her song Press Play, rapping, "Why can't you be? Daddy wasn't no businessman. Mama wasn't no business owner. What an idiot. You can't be me. I'm already it." The line lands with sting precisely because it frames Beyoncé as both opponent and benchmark, an untouchable idol being challenged by a rival willing to expose uncomfortable truths. Nicki's latest rants take it further. She has shared old photos of Jay-Z with Aaliyah and Beyoncé from 1996 and 1997, overlaying their ages and commenting on alleged misconduct. She insinuates that powerful figures, tightly knit in Jay-Z's Roc Nation inner circle, used systemic abuses, including exploitation and, according to some sources, orchestrated silences, to clear a path for Beyoncé's solo rise. She claims that Aaliyah's death coincided with Beyoncé's struggles to go solo and suggests it's no coincidence, framing the trajectory of fame as a calculated, almost sinister architecture. This isn't just storytelling, it's reframing history, suggesting the sanitized version of pop culture is only part of the picture. Now, some will call this reckless or unverified. Critics will argue that connecting these dots without hard legal proof is dangerous, that it risks defaming icons and inflaming public sentiment. That's true. But the point is not law, it's narrative power. Nicki knows her audience craves context behind the context, the hidden forces shaping fame, and the alleged cost of superstardom. Psychologically, when a challenger exposes a king's secrets, or implies secrets exist, it ignites fascination, fear, and loyalty all at once. She doubles down, pointing to alleged incidents at Diddy parties, R. Kelly's coercion of Aaliyah, and the complicity of the surrounding circle. She questions why a 15-year-old's alleged mistakes attract scrutiny while decades-long silence from 30-year-old superstars allegedly goes unchallenged. Nicki frames this as an ethical double standard, implying that accountability should be applied universally, not selectively. And when she posts this online, she frames it not as accusation alone, but as historical reckoning, highlighting photos, timelines, and patterns to illustrate a system of control that her fans may have previously only sensed in whispers. Throughout, she positions herself as the disruptor, the one daring to ask the questions no one else will. She doesn't just call out Diddy, Jay-Z, or Beyoncé. She challenges the ecosystem of power itself. She references collaborators, insiders, and historical patterns. The unspoken exploitation, the silences during scandals, the maneuvers that cleared the path for current icons while silencing those who knew too much. She frames the rise of Beyoncé not just as talent and marketing, but as something built on carefully orchestrated exclusion and survival within a system that demanded compliance. Nicki even addresses contemporary music industry manipulation, alleging that Jay-Z and Tidal tried to silence her over her critiques, offering money to redirect the conversation away from them and toward her. She claims these maneuvers are part of the same pattern of control that allegedly manipulated careers, managed reputations, and erased inconvenient truths. The messaging is clear. Power is protected, history is curated, and exposure comes with risk. Finally, she connects this to the broader culture of accountability. She questions why the world scrutinizes young women while excusing older men who were allegedly involved in predatory activity. She names specific figures, referencing events, parties, and industry alliances, painting a picture of a Hollywood system that enabled exploitation while carefully cultivating superstardom. And in doing so, she forces the audience to reckon with the idea that fame, influence, and survival in entertainment have always been intertwined with secrecy, power, and moral compromise. Psychologically, the impact lands because it reframes what we thought we knew. It's not just music gossip. It's an interrogation of legacy, ethics, and the cost of superstardom. If these claims are taken seriously, they threaten to reshape the story of an entire generation of artists, forcing fans to confront uncomfortable questions about the construction of celebrity and the price of silence. And Nicki Minaj, by daring to expose it, positions herself as both storyteller and disruptor, reminding the world that the throne is not untouchable. It is always vulnerable to truth, timing, and narrative strategy. So the real question is this: will the public accept the sanitized history, or are we on the brink of a reckoning where the hidden past collides with present fame? And when the crown itself is implicated, who really remains untouchable?
He was working with R. Kelly and they were making so many records together. You know, they made all of those records together. They both, Aaliyah, they shared so much in common.
Dame Dash has now stepped into the frame, and his words add yet another layer to this already combustible narrative. Speaking to Page 6, he confirmed that Jay-Z's attention toward Aaliyah was real and unmistakable. He tried very hard, Dash admitted. I did not mean to fall in love with Aaliyah. She was just that cool. But we were both going hard. Everybody was trying to get to Aaliyah. It was not just Jay. This simple admission reframes what many had only whispered about for decades. According to Dash, he didn't even know Jay-Z had feelings for Aaliyah until the chemistry became undeniable. He was trying. I was trying. Everybody was going hard, Dash recalled. That line is key because it underscores the intensity and competitiveness surrounding Aaliyah, a young woman whose talent and charisma made her a focal point in the power games of late 90s hip-hop and pop culture. Sources from back in the day also corroborate the story, describing parties where Jay-Z arrived solo, clearly focused on Aaliyah. Witnesses say the chemistry was visible, undeniable. Hugging, laughing, sharing the kind of moments that outsiders couldn't misread. Yet, Damon Dash was already in the picture romantically, which meant there was tension, a web of competing attention, and a potential power struggle over influence, proximity, and access to a rising star. Psychologically, the situation resonates because it's not just about romance. It's about control. In the world of celebrity, access equals leverage, and those who control proximity often control narrative. And here's where it becomes darker. Allegations have long circulated that when Jay-Z was no longer able to exert influence over Aaliyah, her death conveniently removed a roadblock in the carefully curated paths of power surrounding the emerging elite. Reports about the small plane crash have always raised questions, The plane exceeded its maximum weight limit by several hundred pounds. The pilot allegedly faked his license and may have been under the influence, and Aaliyah reportedly boarded unconscious. Kathy Iandoli, in her book Baby Girl, documented some of these details, painting a picture that is as chilling as it is suspicious. This is the context in which Nicki Minaj now claims she's going to expose missing pieces of the Aaliyah story. Pieces that could implicate Jay-Z and, by extension, Beyoncé. The photos Nicki posted of Aaliyah with Jay-Z in 1996 and 1997 are more than nostalgia. They are framed as evidence, a visual puzzle that suggests she